Have you ever wondered what it's like competing in the Big Ten Conference? Well, you came to the right channel. Nice to meet you guys. My name's Nico Schultz. I'm an 800-meter runner here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and I'm here to tell you guys today what it was like competing in the Big Ten Championship. Now, I've competed in 2 Big Ten championships in my time here in Nebraska. Unfortunately, my freshman year I was injured, so I was not able to travel with the team. But fortunately enough, this past year, my sophomore or freshman redshirt year, I was able to go to the Spire Academy, which is in Ohio, and it's a 300-meter track. And now for my non-track and track and field athletes out there who are still trying to figure out what the sport is, a 300-meter track is very rare. It's usually only run in indoor facilities kind of like this. I'm pretty sure Spire Academy is an all-around athlete facility, basketball, football, tennis. So the Big Ten decided to sign a contract with the Spire Academy, and so every single year for about, I think these past like 6 or 7 years, all the Big Ten schools meet inside the Spire Academy and compete. And so the racing strategy, at least for my event, gets kind of turned on its head a little bit. Normally on an indoor 200-meter track, a regular 200-meter track, it would be 4 laps around. But with this new kind of 300-meter track, you kind of have to innovate a bit. Your 400-meter mark's a bit thrown off. And I believe it's only 2.5 laps instead of 4, if I can remember correctly. But without further ado, I want to give you guys an insider look and insider access of what it was like to compete at this championship. So this meet, I went and there's a preliminary round. There were 5 heats of, I believe, like 6 or 7 athletes, and in order to advance to the next round, you either had to get 4 or top 4 time qualifiers, so the top 4 fastest time from any heat automatically get to the next round, and then it was the top 2 finishes from each heat make it to the final round. And outdoor it's a little bit different, but like I said before, 300-meter track indoor, it's a bit different with the rules. Actually, each time qualifier in this exact race I'm about to show you guys was taken within the first heat. They got out crazy fast. I believe the opening 400 was in like 50 point or 51. The first 600 was like 117. It was insane. And so I knew that the only way I was going to get into that final was going to be placing top 2. And that's the next point I kind of want to get into is strategy. Strategy at these championships are insane. Any time that it took to get into this race does not hold true anymore. It matters who finishes the race first on that day and who is the fastest on that day. Let's say the first meet of the year, somebody goes out and runs a 146. They can show up to this championship and completely drop the ball and run a 152 and not make the final. That's why whenever you're going to these competitions, no matter what level you're at, always just compete and make the person prove it to you on the day that they are the better athlete. Because there's been so many times and so many great athletes who have shown up to these meets cocky and not being as humble as they should and end up not performing as expected, not doing what they're meant to be doing. And so that's one thing I had to learn about this. I was going into this meet, I was being a statistics nerd. I'm looking, oh my gosh, this guy's faster than me, this guy's faster than me. I'm not gonna make it into this time. I'm gonna place 8th, I'm gonna place 9th, I'm not gonna make it to the final. You can't not worry about what you cannot control. As I mentioned before, you got to go to the meet that day and run that time in sort of that atmosphere. Different races hold different experiences. Some races are super easy. Some races you don't see anybody. And some races you're catching a few elbows. Some races your race plan doesn't go as planned. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this race. As you can see here, I am in the, what is this, like the top position. I'm probably in lane like 6, 5, something like that. And so I'm going to be going over my mistake here. What I didn't realize, what I did wrong was I did not get out at all. In all of my videos to you guys, I'm always preaching about free energy. I'm always preaching about getting out fast, right? I'm always preaching about getting out fast, getting out strong, kind of being a front runner. And in this race, that was just not the case. I've never raced anybody in the 147s before. I've never really even been in a race previously before this where everybody has broken 150. Before this race, I've only broken 152 times, but then again, I was not ready for all these 147s and 148. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this thing off here. So as you can see, I'm getting down into the set position. The first 10 meters, bam, I'm already behind. I'm like, all right, the first 2 people past me, I'm fine. But then I hear the insider positions coming up on me as well, and I'm like, oh no, I am definitely way behind pace. And coming around this bend here, coming around this corner, a strategy that I had yesterday or in the preliminary round was I kind of tucked on the inside of the rail and stayed in the kind of 2-3 position and fed off of their energy and just was cruising behind. But in this race, that was not the case at all. By me going inside, I actually packed myself in and I gave myself no opportunity to get around any runner, and I got really boxed, and it was just bad from the start. From the rest of the race on, I was not able to move from this position. I was completely jammed, and I was just kind of stuck in no man's land, as you would call it, right? So that's why I say different races hold different experiences. I don't know why in my mind I decided to cut in. Normally, when you're coming around the bend, you want to take the best angle. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So anytime you're going into a break, let's say you're supposed to break at the 100-meter mark for the 800, do not cut in right away. You're supposed to take a direct tangent to that 200-meter mark at the very end. I wish I could demonstrate for you guys, but I'm obviously sitting down. But it is a direct tangent. Do not cut in right away, or else you're going to get packed, you're going to get jammed, you're going to cut somebody else off and get disqualified. Like I said, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Take the most straight tangent with the least amount of left to right movement. As you can see, I cut in, and I'm in like the 6th position here, and I'm jammed, right? There's a guy on the outside of me, there's a guy in front of me, and I'm second to last place as of right now. So we're coming across 200. I don't think it was very fast. It was probably 26, 27 seconds. I let that guy pass me there, and that was another one of the mistakes I made. I let too many people pass me. I wasn't front running, and I let a lot of my momentum get cut off because I was not in a flow, right? I kept on running up on this guy. As you can see here, I'm stepping on his toes. So I'm surging and I'm coming back. You do not want to make unnecessary surges here in the 800. There were so many times during this race where I would try to make a move and I get stopped. I would try to make a move and I would get stopped again. The metaphor I like to use for the 800-meter run is you're like a gas tank. You start your race, your gas tank is completely filled, and slowly throughout the race, you're supposed to perpendicularly, use that gas, level it out all the way to empty, and then obviously you're supposed to try to PR. But the problem with me in this race, it wasn't just a steady movement down here. It was here, 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 here. I kept on just going up and down, and wasting so much energy. And you're gonna see by the end of this race, I'm just completely cooked, completely gassed. I got rolled basically in this 800-meter run, which is pretty funny because this is actually my fastest 800-meter time so far in college. So coming up to the 500-meter mark with 1 lap to go, I'm in dead last. And we're not going very slow. I mean, those guys in front are probably, a half a second ahead of me. We come across, I believe, 107, 108. We came through 400 in about 54 seconds, which is respectable. But as I mentioned before, as you can see, here I am trying to make a move, and the Indiana kid gets in front of me, cuts me off, lose all my energy again. You do not want to do this. When you make a move in college or make a move in any level, make that move confidently. Do not hesitate. What I should have done there was made that move regardless of that guy was in front of him. I should have swung wider and got around him so that I had better positioning. But instead, I tried making the move. I failed in making the move, had to lose my momentum, and then try to regain it again. As I say in track and field, in any event, you do not get steps back, rather for better, rather for worse. Each time you take a step, it's either going to be for better, it's going to be for worse. If I take a step that's powerful and my foot is dorsiflex, I'm going to get propelled forward and I'm not going to use that much energy. But if I'm surging super fast, taking too many steps, I'm burning energy and I'm not going nowhere. And in this case, I was not going nowhere. I got stuck behind and I paid for it. And so here we are coming up with about 150 meters left. And as you can see, it is a very close race. I mean, I am not that far off from any of those guys. And you're going to see here the winner was actually in 5th place. So here I am, I make a move again with everything I have left, but as you can see, I'm in about lane 3, and I'm going to finish the race in, I think, lane 4. But we are all in the mix here. I don't have the announcer's point of view. I tried getting it before this, but I wasn't able to do it. So this is actually from YouTube, from one of the other runners' moms, but it's a bit grainy. I was right neck and neck with the Big Ten champion. As you can see, the guy from Penn State right there, he just had a better kick than me. I mean, it looks like I'm catching everybody, but at the same time, too, everybody's kicking. And as I like to say in the Big Ten Conference or in college in general, everybody's fast. No matter your division, no matter your race, no matter what you're doing, there's going to be people from any division in any school that will have a good day and run faster than you sometimes. And that's just the reality of the race. Doesn't matter where you go. People are fast anywhere. And here I come on the final lap. As I mentioned before, I pushed to lane 4, out-kicked, and yeah, that's basically the race. And it was so frustrating too, because as you can see, I'm gonna put my hands on my head. I'm super frustrated. I'm like, man, I just sold my first Big Ten title, my first ever shot at the Big Ten championship, and I was the first one to walk off the track because I was so frustrated because I knew I was capable of a lot more than what I had shown on that track that day. I knew that I had a 147 capability within me. I knew that my training and everything leading up to it was based to have a 147 low to potentially make nationals. The last spot into nationals this year was, I believe, a 147.3 by Will Sumner. And it was my goal to get there. Obviously, I started out the season hot. Obviously, it was my first ever time competing in the Big Ten championship. But that's just about the goal setting and the expectations that you have yourself as an athlete, and especially as a Division I athlete too. A lot of us are on our own individual journeys and are trying to make it to a better place than they were previously. Obviously, I was hurt my freshman year, so my goal for my sophomore year was to make it throughout my entire season, compete in all the Big Ten championship meets, compete in all the meets, and potentially try to make nationals. Unfortunately, I did not make it to nationals, indoor or outdoor. I made it to the regional qualifier outdoors, but it did not get me to the national meet. And so something I would like to kind of go about this is the competition level at these races and at these meets are huge. I was not expecting to get thrown into some heat like this, of this, this 147s, 148s, but now I know. After a year of experience and after a year of training and being able to really dissect each race and think about what happened, what was I doing previously. In the indoor season, I was doing a lot of things right, but at the same time too, I was tiring myself out a lot, which is why as athletes, you really have to take it one race at a time. By my outdoor season and by the outdoor Big Ten championship, my mental and my body were completely cooked. It got to the point to where I really didn't like the sport at the moment. I looked at myself as more or less a number instead of a competitor. Instead of, in this race right here, in this indoor championship race, I was a fearless competitor ready to risk it all. But then when I got to the outdoor season, I looked at myself as almost not deserving to be there. And that was just an accumulation of a lot of different things. School was very difficult. Life was very difficult. I was very confused on what my purpose was as an athlete, where I was supposed to be, my numbers. It really was discouraging indoors, running faster times than I was outdoors. And as I mentioned to you before, that's just burnout. That's just college burnout. My first season, was not expecting that. Maybe I went too hard in the summer. Maybe I went too hard in the indoor season. But you live and you learn. And that's the point of this sport, right? There's been so many people and so many national champions that have lost so many times, so that were supposed to win races, and then they didn't. They lost. And then they came back the next year and they won it all, and then they went pro, and then it's this huge success story, right? And so you never really know what you have until it's gone, right? And so like after the season was over, I was super frustrated. I didn't even want to look at races once the season was over. But then, as I started getting back into my training for my junior year, I was really looking back and looking at it like, well, okay, I had a really good season. I had some really big competitions. I had some really good races, and I had some really bad races. I took the good with the bad, and now I'm applying it and giving you guys my insight on what I think I should have done differently for this race. Yes, if I would have got off faster this race, could I have ran 147? Obviously, of course. I truly believe that in my ability. But now this year, I'm going to give you guys a step-by-step process of what it's like before the season, during the season, and even after the season too. I'm going to be giving you guys days in the lives of what it's like to compete. Some practices I'll be doing days in the lives. I'll be doing the days in the lives of what I eat in a day, what I do in a day, what I study in a day, to kind of give you guys insider access of what it's like to compete in this conference. And the funny thing is too, being at the University of Nebraska, we only traveled, I believe, 2 times last year, indoor season. We went to Texas Tech, and then we went to Arkansas, and I believe that was it. I'm probably missing one out. But a lot of the competitions that we had were at our home track. And so we did not see another Big Ten team until the Big Ten Conference Championship. And so that was a really cool experience to be around and see a lot of amazing athletes, amazing performances. Shout out to one of my friends, Nick Bryant. He's my training partner. And I always preach having good training partners makes you and them a better athlete. Even the days where you don't want to compete and you do not want to train, having a training partner that's even better than you, the same level or if not better, is going to make you an amazing athlete. And so this day, I'm going to pull the video up right here. He's facing another guy who was a 114 600-meter runner. And so if you don't know what the 600 is, go ahead and look up some of the fastest times in the world, because the 114 is one of the fastest times in the world. And I'm training with this guy all throughout the year. And in these endurance workouts and in these distance workouts, I'm destroying him in practice, right? I'm killing him. But then when it came to the speed workouts, 400s, 300s, 200s, he's destroying me. That just goes to show we all have our different strengths and weaknesses. But anyway, going back to the video that I'm showing, he ran a 115.9 in the preliminary round and then went 115.3 in the final. And he actually got beat in the final by a 114 by the guy from Iowa. But the guy from Iowa ended up breaking prematurely and he got disqualified from the race. So Nick, my teammate that I'm mentioning, won with a 115.3, which was, I believe, the 7th fastest time in all of Big Ten collegiate history for the NCAA in the 600-meter run. It is a 300-meter track, so it is a bit easier than a 200-meter track. But a 115 is a 115. And not a lot of humans on this earth have ever touched that feat at all of 115 in that race. And so, like I said, I'm just reiterating this, but training partners are super important. If you want to get to the next level, train with some next level athletes, next level coaches. And then again, too, your lifestyle outside of the track as well has to align with what you want to do on the inside track. I was loyal to a fault to this with last season. Last season, unfortunately, On the back end of the season, as the burnout continued, I was just doing things that just weren't aligning with what I wanted to accomplish, with what I wanted to achieve as an athlete. The diet was kind of falling off. School was getting overwhelming. I was procrastinating a lot. Procrastination kind of ate me alive with all the traveling, with all of the stress levels of competing. I was kind of letting all these things just build up, build up, build up, and then one thing at a time just kept on falling and falling and falling. And so this season, my goal is to be a lot more level-headed, to accomplish things on time, to realign myself. When I tell myself I'm going to do something, I actually do it. If I tell myself I'm going to clean today, I have to make sure that I clean today. If I'm going to knock out this assignment today, I'm going to knock it out today. When you take these little losses, they accumulate. But then if you take a lot of these little wins, if you tell yourself you're going to do something and you actually do it, they accumulate as well. It just keeps on going and going and going. Like I said, do not lose the day. Take it day by day. Do not look at things from the grand scheme of things. Look at things just one thing at a time. Knock it out. Keep it going. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today in this video. Like I said, any suggestions, any comments where I would like to be this upcoming season, I would love to be in the 146s and 145s. Obviously, it says 144 on there. If your goals aren't big enough, what are you doing? That's what I mentioned in my last video that I closed out with. On my spikes, actually, to remind myself during each terrible workout and each great workout, on my left spike, I wrote 146. On my right spike, I wrote 145. The goal this season is to run 146 in this indoor season and then 145 on the outdoor season. And obviously, once the postseason occurs, that 144, who knows? It could be in contention, it could not be, but you might as well say it before you actually do it. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know any videos you would like to see here in the near future. We're currently at about 1,600 subscribers and on the goal to 10K. So thank you guys for watching. Peace out.